Hello folks, I thought it was worth maybe doing a wee video just to update you on the support that's available for employers and for businesses at the moment. I will do my best to make this as clear as I can and hopefully make it relevant in your circumstances. This will hopefully negate the need to contact us, but in no way is it an attempt to stop you from having a conversation with us about your specific circumstances. So please feel free to contact us if we can answer anything and support you in any way. Okay, folks, I'm going to start with the job retention scheme that has been launched there on Friday. So the government will pay 80% of the wages of any furloughed worker. A furloughed worker is basically somebody who, for whatever reason, cannot work, whether that's because the risk seems to be too high for the employer, they maybe can't protect the employee in terms of the social distancing of approximately 2 metres between the staff or between the staff and the public. It may be because your business no longer has the work coming in and therefore you can't afford to pay your staff, or the government have insisted that your business closes on the basis of the fact that it is perhaps a cafe, a bar, a restaurant, leisure facility, gym, etc. So it doesn't really matter on the reason for the closure. The point is that your business has closed, and as a result, in order to protect your staff, you would put them on a furloughed contract. They remain your employee during this period of time, but they wouldn't be able to work for you, and you would be able to reclaim 80% of their wages and therefore pay them that 80%. You are perfectly entitled to top that up with the remaining 20%. However, whilst the government are encouraging businesses to do this, I think small businesses maybe need to be a little bit aware of their reserves in the long haul. And when the lights switch back on in 2, 3, 4 months, however long it takes, businesses are going to take time to recover. So we may well need to have those reserves in place to be able to afford the wages at that point in time. So I'm not necessarily encouraging you to top those up at the moment. I think employees will be contented that they're saving their jobs, they're receiving 80% of their wages, and ultimately they're not supposed to be leaving the house. So there will be limited opportunity for them to spend that, and the 80% should cover their monthly costs or their weekly costs. So that is the job retention scheme. It is applicable to all employers, so large, small, charity, service sector, any of those areas are covered. So you will be entitled to claim this. The process for doing it, for those of you who we manage your payroll, we will do that for you as far as is practical. We will require some information from you if you decide to go ahead with it. So we would require details of which employees you want to furlough and from what date. We will probably need the bank details that you wish that money to be paid into, so that can be processed for you. And that is all done through an online portal, which is in the process of being set up by HMRC as we speak. And that should hopefully be coming over in the next period of time. We don't have a time frame on it. The 80% will be based most likely on an average wage. Over what period at this stage hasn't been announced, but I would expect it's probably maybe January, February, in that they will discount December because people very often get bonuses in December, and they will probably discount March because people have the opportunity in March to inflate the pay that they would be getting in order to maybe get their employees some more pay. So I expect probably January, February, but it may well be on a P60 from last year. It's very hard to know at this stage, but it will most likely be on average earnings. So we will apply for you. We will process that for you if we do your payroll. If you do your own payroll but would like some support in that, please do get in touch and we will do as best we can to support you in it. And like I say, the reason for closure is irrelevant. So that is hopefully a very good way to support you and keep your workers in place at the moment. Okay, so the next thing that has been put in place for supportive businesses is the deferral of VAT payments, which basically means any VAT payments that are due from last week will not be collected. So if you had a VAT return that has been prepared and filed, they should not be collecting that VAT payment for now. They have been deferred until at least the 30th of June with a view to those payments being paid or being made to HMRC by the end of the tax year, which will be 31st of March 2021. So you're being given time to make those payments over and above this period. Just maybe for those of you who had a February quarter end and those VAT returns have been filed, you maybe want to put a check and maybe put a stop on your direct debit if that's been set up, just to ensure that those aren't lifted. The March ones definitely won't. I don't expect the February ones will, but If you want to take control of that yourselves, you could put a stop on that direct debit. It can be set up again afterwards. So that's something to consider from that perspective. We are required to continue filing your VAT returns, even though they aren't being paid. We will prioritise those of you who are in a refund situation, who get VAT refunds each quarter or each month. So we will continue to prioritise those to try and get you that money back as quickly as we can. So if you're in that situation, please get in touch as soon as you can to arrange to get the books to us in order to get that processed for you and processed on your behalf. We will work on that. Our staff are, working from home at the moment, so do get in touch. We will arrange to collect paperwork from you or to meet you at the office to get it dropped off. We have processes in place to ensure that we can get that delivered for you. With regard to self-assessment payments on account, any payments on account that are due 31st of July now are not required to be paid. They have been deferred until 31st of January 2021. So if you're in a situation where you're due to make a payment on account on your self-assessment tax return, do be aware that that does not now need to be done in July and can be deferred until 31st of January 2021. Okay, so the next opportunity for support comes in the form of the £10,000 grant for those businesses eligible for small business rate relief. If you have a business premises that you pay business rates on and you're entitled to small business rates relief, you will automatically receive a cheque for the £10,000 as soon as the Treasury have released those funds. I would expect that to be hopefully this week. That's what we're hoping for. Anybody who's eligible will automatically receive the cheque. There is no need to apply for it. So hopefully that will help the cash flow in the meantime. Okay, so the next one is the Business Interruption Loan Fund, which is available through the business bank. Effectively, that is an umbrella set up to offer you the opportunity to get this loan from your bank. They are recommending you speak to your own bank first. It's an interest-free loan for up to 12 months. It is 80% guaranteed by the government. However, some banks will require guarantees from you as the business for the remaining 20%. If this is something you're thinking of taking advantage of, check with your bank as to exact criteria and whether or not they are going to require some sort of security for that remaining 20%. This might be something that you want to put in place at the moment while we're waiting for some of the other grants to come in, with a view to paying that back as soon as possible so that it's not a loan over your head. The other options that have been outlined are grants, which wouldn't be repayable. This is a loan, so is repayable, albeit on an interest-free basis. So if it gives you some sort of flexibility in your cash flow for now, it's worth considering. Each bank has different level of criteria and is distributing these loan funds in a different way. So it's worth maybe having a look on that business banking link to see whether or not your bank is taking part. It probably is, and what the application process is. So that's something else that you need to maybe consider at the moment as well to help your cash flow. Finally, just with regard to any upcoming corporation tax or PAYE payments that are due to HMRC, obviously that has already been covered off, as has the self-assessment, but with regard to corporation tax and PAYE, you may want to consider deferring or asking for some time to pay those other tax liabilities at the moment. That can absolutely be done. You need to contact the specialist helpline to do that. I will include that on the link below so that you have that information. You need to ring them as soon as you know you won't be able to pay it, although to be honest, getting through at the minute is really difficult. I would maybe suggest, if you can't get through, that you draft a letter and send that off so that you've in some way tried to make contact with them. You can't just not pay. So maybe bear that in mind for those of you who maybe have corporation tax payments coming due now at the end of March or even at the end of April, that the time to pay arrangements are in place to do that. So you may as well try and push that back and maintain your cash flow as far as possible. With regard to your cash flow, we are encouraging our clients to try as far as they can to make payments to their suppliers, even if it's only half of what's due to them, if that's all you can afford at the moment. We need to try as best we can to keep the cash flowing amongst the businesses to support each other. You need your suppliers to see this through as much as they need you. So maybe try and do that. I've had a number of clients say to me, do I pay my suppliers at the end of the month? That is really a call for you to take. And maybe it's some of them will only get a percentage of what's due to them, but a percentage of what's due to them is going to be better than nothing. So if you can afford to, we would encourage people to try and do that to sustain our economy. Okay, folks, that is a whistle-stop tour of where everything stands as at Monday, the 23rd at 12:15. Effectively, things will change and are changing all the time. We're very keen to hear what is announced this afternoon in the Prime Minister's briefing between today and tomorrow. I'm hoping there will be some announcements with regard to self-employed individuals who to this extent have not received massive support, but whom I expect to be supported. So hopefully there'll be an announcement this afternoon with regard to those individuals, freelancers, consultants, sole traders, people who are working from home who aren't maybe entitled to some of those other grants that we've talked about. So hopefully there'll be something more to tell you on the basis of this afternoon. Thank you very much for listening. I hope it's been useful. I will share this around my clients and put it on social media with a view to hopefully helping you guys. As I said, this is not in any way don't speak to us. I just hope it maybe answers some of the questions that I'm having the same conversation with lots of people about. Please get in touch if you have a specific question, query, or how it relates to you, and we will be more than happy to help. In the meantime, folks, stay safe and I'll speak to you soon. Thank you.